Hello everyone, I'm Ruan and welcome back to this YouTube channel, I guess. Or welcome back to me. Some of you guys have been around in the last couple of years. I kind of disappeared. This video is meant to be a bit of a recap, an update for everybody that's interested in what actually ended up happening with my Ossu computer science course, right? So it's July 2024. I started this in July 2022, so if I kept to my original plan, I should have been done with the Ossu course by now, right? I should have done all the different projects and things required to actually finish the computer science degree, I would say. But I didn't. Okay, so this video then is some reflection on what happened, an update on my life, my situation, you know, and potentially what I think I'm going to be doing in the future. So let's get into it. So I thought it might be a good idea to start with my background. A lot of you guys don't necessarily understand what my situation is, and I thought, you know what, let me just give you some clarity on that, right? So I got a lot of questions like, how is it possible for me to spend 30 or 40 or how many of hours I managed to spend doing the Ossu coursework, right? Whether it be the different programming modules or the calculus or whatever. I spent a lot of time, like easily between 20 hours and 30 hours most weeks. And how is that possible? Who has that kind of time? So first of all, when I started, I was already married, so I'm married. And I was running my own business, right? So this business was quite decent. You know, I was earning enough to make a living. However, it wasn't incredibly demanding. Okay, and because of that, I had some time available. Now, normally, you know, you have your ups and downs in business. Some days it goes very well and it's super busy. Other days you just kind of sit around, you waste a bunch of time on, I don't know, so watching random YouTube videos, going in some kind of a rabbit hole that's not productive or useful to anybody at all. And that kind of got to me, right? Because I don't like doing that, right? I always feel worse at the end of a day like that than I would, right, if I just did some work. So I decided, you know what, let me challenge myself. Let me see if I can't maybe learn a new skill. And, you know, computer science has always been a thing that I'm super interested in. So I thought this could be the thing. It would help me to diversify my skill set and maybe give me an in to a industry that normally I would never have gotten involved with, right? So it future-proofs me a little bit in terms of my skills, the diversity of skills that I have. And you never know, right? Things could happen and I might actually require those skills or, you know, need to go look for a job in that kind of industry. So, you know what? It just made sense. Okay, and then I also thought, you know what, it would be kind of cool if I documented this, you know, something to keep me going, something to keep me, you know, motivated. And the YouTube was the result of that. Okay, so that's how I have time to do this. Now, I still had to sacrifice quite a lot of the morning time. So I would wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m. and spend 2 to 3 hours a day studying because it was convenient. You know, it's one of those things. If you want to get ahead, you have to do things ahead of everybody else, so to speak. So if you do it first thing in the morning, by the time your day starts, you've already finished that. And then the rest of the day can kind of just happen to you. And it doesn't really matter if you get back to your studies or something like that, because you've done it, right? The same with exercise and things like that. Or that's just how I feel about it. What is also nice is my wife was doing all the editing for me. So I didn't have to worry about editing the videos. I would just do the coursework, make a recording, okay, obviously write the script, so to speak, or just my points, or whatever that I needed. And then my wife would do the editing, right? Which is obviously quite a lot of work, but fortunately I didn't have to worry about that. Okay, and then just maybe my educational background. I am a qualified mechanical engineer. I finished my 4-year degree, bachelor's, and then I also did a master's degree in mechanical engineering. So I'm not by any means specialized in computer science, but obviously, well, maybe not so obvious to everybody, but there are some programming coursework within mechanical engineering. So I had a bit of an introduction to computer science or programming in general. That's why, some people maybe ask, how the hell do I pick up on a new language or the introductory coursework? How did I do it that quickly? Well, the thing is, it was my first time entirely. Some of the concepts were familiar to me already. So that's my background. Now, what happened? So I ended this journey around week 20, right? I did do a little bit more work, like week 21, but I fell short of the goal of like the 30-hour goal or the 20-hour goal, and I didn't actually record a video for that. That was around December 2022, January 2023. Okay, so I couldn't really get through it. That's kind of a funny time of the year. It's the holiday season, other things happen. Just don't get around to all of this stuff. Not necessarily a bad thing, because it gave me time to rest, to recuperate, etc. And then I felt like starting in January, I would have, a lot of energy, a lot of motivation to get back into it and to push through the whole computer science course. However, some things came up. I received an offer from a local university to lecture at that university. So I effectively received a job offer to become a lecturer. Okay. Now, I would be a part-time lecturer or a contract lecturer, so I'm not like full-time employed at the university. I only need to spend like 4 to 6 hours a week, roughly. It depends. You have like two classes that you have to lecture. That's like 4 hours of lecturing, and then you have some consultation stuff, assignments, and things like that. Okay, but regardless, it was still a very part-time thing. So theoretically, I could have stuck with Ossu if I just reduced my hours a little bit. The problem, however, I haven't done the specific coursework in quite a few years. So it's not like, I have it all at the tip of my tongue, on top of my head. I could just go and start lecturing the module that I was lecturing. It was material science, by the way. So what that meant is I had to spend, a good couple of weeks restudying all of this stuff. Remember, it's not good enough for me to just kind of be familiar with material science when I'm trying to lecture material science. I need to be an expert, or at least as close to an expert as I can be, so that I can be, confident in lecturing the material, setting tests, grading tests, all these kinds of things. So with that being said, I spent a lot of time. So all my study hours that I used to spend with Ossu completely got converted into material science studying. Eventually I got through it. I was able to settle the papers. I was able to prep for all the lectures. I did all the lectures. It went pretty well. Around May, I could have potentially said, okay, cool. The semester, because it was all the courses are a single semester, so 6 months roughly. Well, actually, it's more like 5 months, but still. Around May or June, I could have maybe said, okay, cool, I'm now done with this. Let's see if I can get back into Ossu. Now, another thing happened at that time as well. My wife started to study as well. She wanted to study to become a teacher. She enrolled at a university, and obviously now her time is a semi-part-time study, so she would study at nights and early in the mornings, weekends, etc. And then obviously buggered up the whole my wife editing the videos part of the story, which wasn't really a issue because I didn't make any videos, so, who cares? That's where we found ourselves in the beginning of 2023. And then a crazy thing happened, or a wonderful thing happened. Around May, no, not around May, in May, my son was born. So now I have a little family, right? I have a little baby, and things were a bit tough in the beginning. It's new. We don't know what we're doing. Things are hectic. So just as the university kind of wrapped up, bam, this new thing happened, and it was a bit of a new thing. So obviously a lot of learning had to happen. You need to figure out how the hell do you sleep with a baby in the house. But overall, it was quite amazing. Still, you can see how Ossu just wasn't on the top of my mind, or even the YouTube videos and stuff like that in general. Okay, you figure things out, and maybe you get back to it, right? So in June or July, the university actually contacted me again and said, you know what, it went so well in the first semester, don't I want to teach another module? So I was like, you know what, it sounds like a good idea. I kind of enjoyed it, right? So I went back and I taught a second module. This one was advanced design. It is a little bit more involved than naming. I just call it advanced design. I kind of had to go through the same things again, lecture prep, all this stuff, so I was kind of busy. Not super busy necessarily. This time it went a bit better because I didn't have to set all the tests and the exams for this one, which means I had some time, but still, new baby, etc. Still a bit complicated. And then around October, we actually moved house. So, yay. So everything was hectic and confusing and all over the place. So, I mean, good luck trying to record a video in those types of situations. It just wasn't happening. You can see how my life just kind of got away from me in some ways. Obviously, you still have control, but you need to let some things go. And for me, I had to let go of Ossu for a bit. Other things that happened during the year, in July also my hard drive decided to fail on me, and that's always a great experience. My wife, after maternity leave, we kind of decided that she would become a stay-at-home mom. That's kind of fantastic, and it's pretty ridiculous that in 2024 we have the privilege, the opportunity to do something like that. A lot of households just need two incomes to survive. We were happy that that's not the case for us, so she's at home. Sadly, in September, our little cat that you might have seen, her name is Nugget. You might have seen her in some of the videos. She passed away. So she had kidney failure. The vet tells you, listen, we can do, kidney failure things like dialysis and stuff like that. The cat will probably suffer for another year and then eventually pass anyway. So we just decided, you know what, that doesn't sound sensible. So we had to put her down. And I think that's pretty much it. So obviously we moved in October. So December, I did a lot of renovations and things at the new house, which was nice and fun, and I enjoyed it. But again, it's crazy hectic. It's confusing. Things all over the place. You don't set up a recording booth and start back up your YouTube channel during that time. I mean, maybe some people do, but I didn't. Okay, so that brings us to the beginning of 2024. Now, I felt, that, I could really see myself getting back into YouTube and Ossu in 2024. However, you have a thought like that in January, and then before you know it, it's June. And then in like the beginning of July, I'm like, no, I need to commit myself. So I wrote that post that some of you saw where I said, listen, I'm making an update video just to make myself accountable and to do it. But anyway, let me just give you a bit of a summary of what happened in this year so far. So first of all, my lecturing is continuing. It's continuing very well. In fact, so I lectured 2 modules or 2 courses in the first part of the year, the first semester, and they want me to do 2 courses for the second part of the year or the second semester as well. So I'm doing 4 modules in total. Now, some of those I've lectured before, so that's nice. I don't have to worry about that too much. Those I already have the coursework. I have my database full of questions and things that I need to set papers quickly and easily. I don't need to go and read the whole textbook again because I can still remember most of it. And the funny thing happens when you teach something, you tend to remember it much better. So I'm now way better at material science than I've ever been, honestly, because I had to lecture it. And then, students, they ask you tough questions, and now you have to think about it. You have to go look stuff up, and eventually you just become better at material science in general. So I think I'm confident to just go and lecture now, and I don't have to spend hours and hours prepping every time. That might still be the case for some of the new modules, but I'm getting the hang of it. That all being said, it should be quite challenging still with all that work to juggle the YouTube channel as well. And I still have my business that needs to run in the background. And it is still running in the background. It's doing quite well still, well enough that I was able to hire somebody part-time to help me out. This is especially needed because of the fact that I, disappear for 2 or 4 hours at a time to go lecture at the university. So then there's nobody in the office necessarily. So now I have somebody part-time. They cover for me when I'm gone. They also help me out with some of the admin stuff, which frees me up a little bit more. What else did happen in this year? Yeah, my son is growing up super fast, by the way. It's kind of ridiculous what a year does for a little baby. And another update, my wife's expecting again. So in December, we get to go for round 2 with another boy coming up. So yeah, so that's kind of just the broad overview of 2024. Have I done anything with computer science? Yes, I did. So like I said, in January, roughly, I felt the need, So I dove into some things. Obviously, I had to keep the website that I made for my parents, the Jumping Rhino website that I've showcased on this channel. I had to keep that up to date. So that thing is still there. It's still working. The business is still going. So obviously, you need to keep it maintained. That's probably the best word. I also, with the business, I had to build a couple of things that required me to do some, to set up sensors and some automation stuff or whatever using Arduino. So I had to code a bunch of those. But it's pretty straightforward. It wasn't too advanced, I would say. And then in January, when I had some time to breathe, I actually got into a couple of other projects. So I didn't really feel like getting back into Ossu at that time, especially with the university in the forefront. So what I decided to do is make a game. I kind of enjoyed this process, and I made a couple of games. Some just following tutorials, obviously, learning the languages, the game engines, etc., etc. And then one or two, well, technically 2, that I just did myself. So I'm going to show you the better one of the 2. So let's see if I can manage this demo. Okay, so this is Godot. Maybe I'm not saying that wrong. Right. I got a lot of feedback with my pronunciation of Linux. That's the South African pronunciation, by the way. And Godot, I think I might be saying that right. Maybe it's Godot. I don't know. Okay, right. But I'm using Godot as the engine of choice. Nice thing about this is the programming that you do, the syntax and stuff. Now you can use like C#, but I just use the GD script, which is the inbuilt programming language for this. Pretty easy to pick up, super flip and straightforward. It actually looks and feels a lot like Python. Okay, so that's nice. Now I'm not going to take you through all the code, but look, obviously you have characters, you have enemies. I'm just scrolling through some of the code. There's stuff that you need to do. Game manager, I don't know. It's probably something I wanted to do. Goblin, that's one of the enemies. It's the only enemy at this stage, etc., etc. So that's all the script. Then you have the 2D scenes. You can see this is just the one level that I have to test things on, right? Okay. Now it's called Chicken Night. There's a whole theme. I want to make this game. I even wrote a game design document about what these chicken knights are doing, and there might be some other avian warriors involved. The enemies won't be goblins. I thought reptilian enemies could be good, because chickens and snakes don't get along, for instance. So I've played with this idea, this concept. I enjoyed this whole designing of this game quite a bit. It's by no means perfect or done or anything like that, but I played with it a little bit. Stitching magic. So my camera died, but I'm back. Okay, so let's try and demo this game. Okay, so this is where we left off. I think that's what I wanted to do. So there we can play it. There we go. So this is the game. The menu, super basic. I did some sound stuff. So I have a lot of the basic elements, right? So you have a menu, there's sound, there's enemies you can fight, and then you can die, you can restart, etc. So I have a partially completed game loop at least. So let's just play the game. So this is what it is. You can see all my amazing sound effects. So they drop meat. The meat is health. And obviously the art, this is not the art style or anything. I just got some free assets. I should probably tell you where I found those. I can't remember. Maybe I'll find out and put it in the description of the video. But anyway, so you can fight. You have an ability, a big slash. It's kind of not balanced, as you can see. I'm completely overpowered. I just don't die because I heal too much from all the meat, and then as I kill them, my ability recharges, and it's also kind of ridiculous. Okay, so but this is all it is, right? It's just a path, and the goblins keep on spawning, and you can fight and fight and fight. So you can think about this as being some kind of a let me die, and then I can talk about this a bit more. So you can think about this. Jeez, that's such an annoying noise that those goblins make. Okay, but anyway, so you can think about this as being like a survivor type game, like Brotato or Vampire Survivors that recently came out. But that's not all it should be, right? I want some story elements. I want things to happen. You should progress. Obviously, you can imagine that there might be different characters, some items, power-ups, level-ups, better enemies. you can do all that stuff, and I'm kind of excited for it. Yeah, but that's how far I got. So this took me quite a bit of time, obviously, learning how to do it, then programming this thing, getting to understand the engine itself. That's a whole thing. How do you make menus? How do you make a UI? It's a lot of stuff, right? But I learned all of it, most of it, some of it, I don't know. And you can see it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. I kind of enjoyed this game. Now I have another one that I made. I'll demo that another time. Okay, not today. Okay, but that's what I did. So it's not like I completely forgot about computer science or programming in general. It's still something I quite enjoy. So I would just do stuff like this when I had some free time. That's why, I should really just get back into the YouTube videos as well. And when I do stuff like this, tell you guys about it. Going forward, let's think about this. I don't have everything figured out. Obviously, life is complicated, right? So I'll just spitball some ideas, and you know what? Tell me in the comments if you think any of this seems reasonable or possible or plausible, or maybe you have a different idea that I could consider. Let me know. So I just don't see myself continuing Ossu, unfortunately. I know that's how this whole channel started, and that's something I was quite passionate about. I'm still quite passionate about Ossu as a concept and idea. The fact that you can get all this knowledge that you would typically gain with a complete computer science degree for free. And I mean, some of those courses were amazing. I mean, you literally do like the mathematics courses that are offered by MIT. I mean, that's amazing, right? As a South African, getting access to those types of courses or those caliber courses is kind of ridiculous, right? Obviously, we have good local universities, but still, it's not internationally acclaimed like MIT is, for instance. Okay. But anyway, so Ossu is a good thing. I just don't see myself with everything else going on enjoying the grind of a complete computer science degree as much. Right, and if I don't really enjoy it, I'm going to lose motivation again. I'll probably fall off after a couple of weeks or months, and that's not really what I want. What I'm thinking is it might be better if I dedicate myself to projects instead, right? So not really going, this is the coursework and this is the path, just grinding through it, but like starting a project. And then while I'm doing this project, I'll obviously have to go and learn a lot of things. And the nice thing is a real project that somebody's going to use, or you are going to use, or a friend or a family member might use, that's something you can get excited about, right? And that's something I get incredibly excited about. And in fact, that's, when I was doing Ossu even, I recognized that, because while I was doing the website for my parents, or, even just working on the little games that they made you do in some of the courses, I was completely, just lost in those projects. I would lose track of time, work on those for 8 hours straight. Some of my best weeks in terms of productivity or hours spent doing computer science was with a project. And some of my worst weeks were just like slogging through some coursework or something, especially if it wasn't particularly interesting coursework. With that being said, I feel like I shouldn't try and force myself through Ossu again, but rather focus on a couple of projects. And in doing those projects, I will learn a lot about computer science, definitely. And I will stay excited, I will stay curious. I will, let my interest and curiosity guide me rather than just some coursework. Now, obviously, this can get a bit derailed if you just do it all willy-nilly. So I will have to structure it somehow. I will have to maintain some kind of rigor and have a schedule or a plan or something like that. Okay, so whatever the project is, I will still need to set goals for myself. Let's go back to this game. One of the goals might be, how do you implement multiple characters, right? Let's say you start the game, you want a character selection screen. How do you do that? So that's an interesting challenge, an interesting problem. It's obviously something that many people have done before, so I'll surely be able to find some resource that could guide me in doing that. But that's the kind of thing, right? So it's this new feature for an existing project that I'm excited about. So it won't be such a slog to motivate myself and to do the work. To sit down for an hour or two a day and just get something done. So that's what I'm feeling should be the course going forward, at least with this channel. Then obviously what I'll do on this channel is give you updates on the projects, like a devlog or something like that. Maybe even do, if I feel like it, some tutorials for, Godot. If I feel like I'm qualified to give a tutorial on Godot or something like that, right? I'm not sure. Maybe just feedback on development is the way to go on projects or whatever. Like referencing where I found the resources to be able to do the things that I did. That could help a lot of people, I feel. Similar to how Ossu could help a lot of people becoming a computer scientist. I will obviously leave all the Ossu stuff up, and hopefully a lot of you still feel like it's worth your time to go and do Ossu completely. And who knows, maybe in the future I will return back to Ossu and actually give it another try. But for now, I don't see myself doing that. Especially in the short term. Long term, it's difficult to say, right? Things change. I think that's just about everything I wanted to say. That's it for the update. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Everybody on YouTube, all the people who watch and comment, they were so positive. Hey, here and there's like a borderline negative comment. But generally, people were super supportive, and a lot of people were worried that I just disappeared, what happened. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching this video. If you like it, subscribe. I promise I won't just stop making videos entirely again. And leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. And I will see you in the next one, whatever that might be. Thanks for watching. Cheers.